Lee Child joins us now on the sofa. I mean, Reacher, that says it all, doesn't it?
It does, and what a great clip, because, you know, writing it cost me nothing. I just write huge guy instead of normal guy. And then they had to scour. Literally, it was a global search for that actor, somebody that makes Alan Richardson look small.
Because there was a lot of muscle in that shot.
A huge amount.
Yes. I mean, and so where do these people come from in your head?
Well, technically I felt Reacher's a very invulnerable character. Nobody can seriously challenge him. But this book was the 7th book, and I thought, OK, it's time to have somebody who really can be a danger. And the way thrillers work, everybody knows Reacher's going to have to fight that guy at some point. So that's a whole suspense strand right there. Is it this episode? Is it next episode? It's going to happen.
Because Tom Cruise was Reacher
for
a couple of movies, wasn't he?
And when you wrote Huge Guy, was that about Tom Cruise?
Well, I loved working with Tom.
I know,
Nicest guy and really interesting person. But Reacher depends on physicality. He's a huge, scary man who's afraid of nothing. And Tom, for all his acting chops, which are huge, he wasn't physically intimidating.
If he said that to his face.
Well, he
Sorry,
knew.
mate.
Yeah, you know, it was tense, but he kind of knew. Yeah.
Did you tower over him? Because you're
I'm 6'4", yeah, and I was, it was building up and up and up. And when I met Tom, I had this thing in my mind where I became, oh, hi, Tom. But he's actually a normal-sized person. The problem is Reacher is not normal-sized.
Yeah. Is it true that you came up with the name Reacher or stored it in your brain in a supermarket?
Yes, Asda in Kendal.
Asda in Kendal?
Yeah, I went with my wife shopping, and I just lost my job. And, we were very nervous about what we were going to do. And every time I go in a supermarket, there's a little old lady who says, oh, you're a nice tall gentleman, will you reach me that can? So my wife sort of made a joke. She said, if the writing gig doesn't work out, you could be a Reacher in a supermarket.
A Reacher in a supermarket.
Great name.
Really? Just like a light bulb?
A light bulb moment.
And your own story is as incredible as anything, isn't it?
It's a happy story, yeah. I used to work, right here. I mean, not this specific studio, because everything's so modern now, but I worked at Granada down the road for nearly 20 years and loved it. I mean, I love television. And... but it didn't work. It came to an end. We were all fired. And so it was a question of what to do next. And I was just 40 years old and really wanted to retire, but I couldn't afford it. And so I thought, all right, got to do something else. And I thought, you know what? I'll write a book. I'll see if that works. And here we are. The 30th book comes out this autumn. So, it worked out very well.
I bet you could afford to retire now, but you're not going to, are you?
Well, I'm trying to, yeah. My brother's writing the books now, and I'm trying to do nothing. But actually, I end up doing a lot. You just can't get out.
That's a really fascinating dynamic to me, the idea that you're sort of passing on the character in the books to your brother. I mean, you must really trust your brother.
I do, but also, the whole point of writing is to give away the character. You want to give it to the reader. You want the reader to own it, their possession. And so the whole dynamic is about giving it away. Same with the movie, same with the TV. I'm happy about it. I'm not protective about it.
That's an interesting moment to ask you about James Bond, because, of course, Reacher is on Amazon Prime, and we know that Bond is now moving completely under the auspices of Amazon Prime, and they're saying that it could change the way the Bond franchise works. What would you expect to happen to Bond now?
I think it's got to change. It's so rooted in post-war Britain. The whole idea of Bond as being a compensation. We'd lost our real power, but Bond could sort anything out. The concept is dated, and it needs a shake-up, it needs refreshing. And the people that are looking after it before, I think, are just worn out. And so new blood, new energy is going to be good for it.
And do you think, as well as the storylines, is it going to change the way we consume Bond? Like spin-offs, like you've had with Reacher, is something they've talked about, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're doing a Reacher spin-off, absolutely, and I'm sure that'll happen, because what Amazon generally likes to do is, if they get a hit, they want to dominate the entire year with it. And so we can imagine, I expect a big Bond production once every few years, and then a lot of, Bond origin, a Moneypenny spin-off, whatever, you know, it will be happening.
What a good idea, Moneypenny spin-off. One of the more modern things that might happen to James Bond and other huge characters is we might see the introduction of AI to write to a formula. Maybe a Jack Reacher book could be written using AI. How does that make you feel? Does that scare you?
It doesn't scare me, really, because if you think about it, AI can only do what has already been done. In other words, it can scour the entire internet for every word I've written, every word that's been written about Reacher. They can do that, but it's only about what has happened. It can never produce that kind of madness that pushes something into the future. So I'm not particularly worried about it at this point.
You're a very laid-back chap, aren't you? Haven't you?
Totally,
Hand it over to your
This
brother.
guy over my shoulder's not so laid back. Look at him. I'm actually a little bit scared. When you said huge, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, and but he's the nicest guy, actually. I mean, he totally works as Reacher, and he loves the part, and the audience loves him, and we get on really well. He's a nice guy.
Who would work as Bond?
Oh, I think that can be a promotion in itself. Like it was with Gone with the Wind all those years ago. The Vivian Leigh casting was essentially the promotion for the upcoming film. And I think they could do that, a worldwide search, or at least a British-wide search, and find the right Bond. And the great thing about it is that it doesn't have to be a huge star, because if Amazon is the platform, it's a different financial dynamic. The star doesn't have to bring the funding, and so it can be anybody. So I would say, if you're watching now, if you fancy yourself as James Bond, call Amazon and say, "Can I try out?"
There's a TV show right there.
Yeah, I think Simon Cowell's eyes are going, oh, there's an idea for Saturday night. Thank you very much indeed, Lee. It's great to see it. The new series of Reacher is available right now on Amazon Prime Video.